Perfect, great. So whenever I hear myself referred to as a vendor, I always have this moment of cognitive dissonance because I was an academic for so long, but I'll get into my vendor mindset. Awesome, so I'm Dr. Frida Polli. I created a platform called Pymetrics. Pymetrics is a talent matching platform that really emphasizes potential, someone's potential over their pedigree. We have a very bold mission that I'm going to try to get you guys to agree would be an awesome state of the world when we get there. So it's a vision to create a world where resumes don't exist, or at least they're way less utilized than they are now. Where finding somebody's fit is as easy as finding a movie on Netflix. Where hiring is based on a person's potential and not their pedigree. And where if someone is rejected for a job, that's actually an open door to their ideal vocation in life rather than the end of the road, which is what it is now. This might seem like a lofty vision, but I think that it's eminently achievable. And it is achievable through the use of the platform that we've created. The platform we've created takes behavioral data that is at its core unbiased and also very holistic in the way that it looks at someone, pairs it with custom artificial intelligence, meaning there is no one size fits all. We profile your organization to understand what cognitive, social, and emotional traits make for success in any given role at your company, and that's how we create an algorithm. And last but not least, we design these algorithms with what we believe is best-in-class ethical standards in terms of lack of bias and other really important things when we think about creating algorithms. And how does it work? So when we think about talent matching, assessment, right now, the way that most vendors think about assessment, it's a candidate applies for a role, they go through something, and they're evaluated for that particular role. And if they're a match, they're put forward to the next part of the process. And that's usually where it ends, right? And if you're not a match, it's sort of like, good luck to you, and that's kind of the end of the road. We don't think that's the way the world should work. It shouldn't be the case that if you're not a match to the first thing you apply to, that you don't hear anything back. And so what we've created is a system where if you take all those people who are not a match to the first thing they applied to, they get redirected. We call it sorting. And it's essentially figuring out, okay, you applied here, but actually you're a way better fit over here. So why not reroute all of those people that you've spent as a company, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars acquiring as candidates, why not route them to things they could be fantastic at? They've just never even heard of it. So that's the first thing that we do is we sort them to roles at your organization where they would be a better fit. And as I stand here today, I don't think there's any manual process stood up in the world that does this. So we think it's pretty unique. But then we go a step further. Let's say that they don't want to apply to a different role at your company, or they're not a fit for another role. What do we do then? Then what we do is we actually put them into what we call our marketplace, where they're allowed to see what jobs they fit for at other companies using Pymetrics. So we essentially create this virtuous circle where people start off thinking they're applying to a job, but actually, if they get rejected, which the majority of people who apply to any particular role are going to unfortunately end up in that bucket, they actually get fit to their best fit role. And I think that, again, I created the platform because I saw the problem of job matching as an MBA student. And I can tell you I wish that I had had this at that time, or at least my colleagues would have had that. And again, I think this helps not only individual career seekers find their best fit role, it also helps power really an enterprise level talent management system. And if you take that even beyond that, it really creates a talent marketplace that can match people optimally across different companies. It's sort of like a kayak. It's a kayak of jobs as opposed to what we have now, which is individual travel agents. And if you don't fit what they have, that's the end of the road. And I think that what's super exciting about this vision that we've created is it allows us to do a lot of things above and beyond just efficiency. So we've kind of talked about making hiring more efficient and work better. But we also do a lot of things that have such great value to society. We reduce gender, ethnic, and age bias in the hiring process. And we've seen this time and time again. We create a much fairer socioeconomic picture when it comes to the people that you hire. We reduce socioeconomic inequality. And you may be skeptical, but I can point you to many clients that have seen this happen, and it's true. We reduce perceived talent shortages. Why do we have talent shortages today? It's not because there aren't people looking for work. It's because we don't know how to evaluate them. We do not know how to evaluate them. If you're evaluating someone using a backward-looking resume, that tells you nothing about what they can do. And so this really reduces talent shortages. We also help with reskilling. There's a huge number of new jobs that are coming online. And again, what someone has done in the past will tell you nothing about what they can do in the future. And last but not least, we promote neurodiversity. We are not a one-size-fits-all algorithm, and we can actually tell you where someone fits best in your organization rather than thinking there's one type of profile that is ideal. So just to dig in really quickly on a couple of points, this is just to showcase some of the clients that are using us for the talent marketplace piece of things, and again, increases in efficiency, effectiveness, diversity, and socioeconomic diversity. I think that's just one thing to really highlight, is that it's not just about gender, ethnic, and age equality. It's also about giving people a shot. If they didn't go to a pedigree institution or they don't work at a brand name employer. And we've had countless examples of people or companies that have transformed their hiring process, whereby they only used to recruit at a number of really selective core institutions, and now they give everybody a shot. And quite frankly, those people are just as talented, just as hardworking, and should be given that shot. And if we really want to think about our role as HR professionals as really making the workforce more inclusive, there's nothing better than to give hardworking and talented people a shot. Again, in terms of tapping the long tail of talent, this is a tool, just like Netflix is a tool to find those, random indie movies that you never would have found at a Blockbuster store. This is a tool to find those incredibly talented, hardworking people that right now you're not being able to find out of the mass of resumes that you're currently looking for, because you don't have a tool that allows you to really find them. And then two things that I just want to mention is that, when we think about reskilling, we think about AI as a foe. Think of it as a friend. There are 70 million jobs that are going to be sort of automated away in the near term. There's 120 million that are coming online. How are we going to help those people whose resume would indicate that they have little value based on what they've done in the past find their ideal job in the future? I don't believe for a second, and nor should you, that they have little value. It's really just that we're judging them in the wrong way. And quite frankly, I was one of those people. I was a scientist. My resume was 50 pages long. And now that I didn't want to do science anymore, I had no perceived value that people could see outside of that. And yet my potential for being an entrepreneur and other things is really what I wanted to focus on. And I think there are many, many people in the situation where they're trying to find their next path in life for a variety of different reasons and require reskilling. And we should all be helping them along that path by looking at them from a potential perspective. And then last but not least, neurodiversity is something I care a lot about. One of my children, I have 3 daughters, has dyslexia. I've worked with lots of individuals that have, had neuroatypical profiles. And I think that the current system does them a disservice. And we are one of the few platforms out there that actually looks at match rates for people that are choosing accommodations for, learning disabilities and other things, and make sure that they're equivalent to people that are not selecting accommodations. And I really think that when we start looking at people's potential, we stop putting them in a box, stop pigeonholing them as not, having potential just because, they didn't test well on certain IQ tests or, didn't get perfect A's because of some of the difficulties that they might have encountered adapting to a normal school system. So I really think that, again, last plug, when we start thinking about people from a potential perspective and really start to evaluate them in a more holistic sense, we can not only improve the functioning of our talent organizations from an efficiency and effectiveness perspective, but we have so much additional benefit that we get as a society that I think it would be a real shame if we didn't start moving towards thinking about people differently. Thank you very much.